In focus now, retired Vice Admiral Robert Harward, a former deputy commander at CENTCOM, and he served on George W. Bush's National Security Council and as a U.S. Navy SEAL in Iraq and Afghanistan. And, sir, we welcome you to the program. Look, the energy infrastructure that is being hit both by Israel and Iran and that back and forth now, that's something that President Trump doesn't want to do. He wants to leave the country as whole as possible for a healthy economy. Can he avoid the kind of decision that puts us in that part of the hitting?
Well, I hope so, but time will tell, and that's the issue here. We're dealing with time parameters now. How long can this go on and keep the straits closed? That's back to the comment in his meeting with Japan leaders. Ultimately, it's in all of their best interest to be involved. And people have questioned why we went into this war. Look at what's happening now. And this has all occurred at a time when we could challenge Iran. Imagine this scenario when there were not U.S. forces in the region, when we were not able to bring this amount of force against Iran, and the potential of how bad this could be. So again, I think the strategy is sound. Time is the factor we need to control at this point, moving Gulf, eradicating these missile threats. But ultimately, this is the end state that has to be achieved, where Iran cannot pursue this destruction throughout the region and to our forces as well.
Vice Admiral, I'm curious. You know, I just read a statement, and they've kind of gone back and forth on this, too. First countries, particularly in NATO and Japan, saying, yeah, we're not going to jump in and help with that effort at all, and because it puts their military involved. Is that why? And what do their militaries really look like if they can't help us in that effort, which really benefits them when it comes to oil?
Well, at the end of the day, it will be political will, and I think that's what will drive it. Their militaries are very capable. They've partnered with us in Afghanistan and other operations around the world, and when we do that, it enhances everyone's capacity and capability. But right now, it's that political will of not wanting to join the conflict. So I think ultimately, as we see this thing play out, and dependent on time, that political will change, because it will affect their people, will affect their economies, and they'll need to be involved.
Yeah. Look, again, some interesting timing, as you first said, as President Trump is set to meet with Japan's leader just moments from now. European allies, along with Japan, released that joint statement I just spoke of on the Strait of Hormuz. Let's get into it, and I can read part of it now. Quote, "We condemn in the strongest terms recent attacks by Iran on commercial vessels in the Gulf, attacks on civilian infrastructure, including oil and gas installations, and the de facto closure of the Strait of Hormuz by Iranian forces. We will take steps to stabilize energy markets, including working with certain producing nations to increase output. We will also work to provide support for the most affected nations, including through the United Nations and international financial institutions." Japan's prime minister said she expects today's meeting to be, quote unquote, very difficult. Yesterday, President Trump posted this: "Because of the fact that we have had such military success, we no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance. We never did." Likewise, Japan, Australia, or South Korea. What is the president boldly saying there that he wants to make very clear?
I think his commitment. And that's probably the most important element of this. He's committed to seeing these through. If the allies are not willing to join, we're going to do it. We're going to move forward. And I think that commitment at the end of the day will be confirmation to these other countries of their political will. And ultimately, as they're effective, I think that will play out. So again, I think the president is committed to seeing this through so that this cannot happen again. And that's the end state that's needed.
You know, Joint Chiefs Chairman, along with the the Department of War Secretary, Pete Hegseth, this morning gave their 8 a.m. Eastern briefing. And one of the things that stood out to me was that Chairman Kane said that, you know, they went in and moved against Iran, and they came back with a lot of weaponry. Why, from what we're seeing, why didn't we know more, or did we know more about what they had?
Well, we've been tracking Iran for decades, and I think the element that surprised everyone is the drone component. We've always tracked the missiles, we've tracked the launchers, we've tracked the mines, But this, as we're seeing the evolution in drone warfare now, as cheap, how mass produced, how swarming, how many you can launch, that's what's difficult in this case to deal with. And that's what I think we were unaware of, or at least didn't have complete intelligence of the scale of it. And that's hard to do because they're cheap to build, they're affordable. But as we've seen this evolution in drone warfare over the last 3 decades, this is that latest evolution. The scale and the production being cost effective adds a whole new quiver to your inventory. And as we're seeing here in the U.S., we develop those capabilities, those same technologies using artificial intelligence comes a real deterrent, if not a military capability.
Oh, yes.
So you're watching that evolution occur before your very eyes. And I think that's the part we didn't have complete intelligence in.
Well, and the other thing, too, is we've seen with those areas around the Strait of Hormuz, if there's anything underground, we can get to those with busting bombs as well. And so if there are ideas to do some of that surreptitiously underground, which sometimes we'll see that with the hiding of uranium and whatnot, if they're doing that drone building, we'll get to that, too. Vice Admiral, thank you for your time and expertise always.